Hello and welcome back, everyone. We are officially in season 2 of Say Chat Podcast, and I'm super excited. We have a new panel with us today. I'm gonna actually have them introduce themselves a little bit and talk to you guys about what it is that brings them here onto the podcast. So, if you guys want to go ahead and take turns introducing yourself to the listeners, that would be fantastic. We can go ahead and start with Z. See if you would.
Hi, I'm Z. Let's see, I play on, we recently moved to Devona's Rest server, I believe, for Worldly World, because we like to recruit people, and help them learn how to play, because most of the times they're kind of new and they're scared of, level 80 content like Worldly World. So, let's see, I've been playing for a little over 2 years. And I started Worldly World like a year ago. And then most recently, like I think a couple months ago, I started commanding for Worldly World, herding my little group of cats in my WFA guild. I usually play Firebrand support. I don't know why. It's like my favorite thing to do. I guess I'd like to do all those support builds. I think the biggest reason why I enjoy playing Worldly World is the just idea of gathering like a bunch of people, and we kind of have like this one little mindset. We follow this one little person, and we just murder a bunch of people in a video game. It either works or it doesn't, and it feels really good when it does.
True.
And it's just like a fun time to do some shenanigans with a ton of internet people. Um, I think it's a really interesting, like, social thing that just happens. For me, it's really easy to just pop in, join a pug tag, and like do stuff, and things happen. And the content's usually pretty spicy, and that's pretty much why I like to play.
Awesome. We're gonna throw it over to Regal next, I think. Regal, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So I'm Regal. Regal Power can be found on twitch.tv/Regal Power. As far as Worldly Roll goes, I'm also a Firebrand enjoyer. I play some Scourge too if I'm not leading. Most recently, I've actually been enjoying Mesmer because I think it's fun to pull people off their tower walls, especially the Longbow Rangers.
So true.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm on SPI because that is where the guild lives, so that is where I live.
What guild is
Uh,
that? Did you plug it?
Did you plug the
oh,
guild? Come on,
Does it
most
even
important
need
part.
does it even need plugging? Hardstuck.gg, baby. Yeah, we're on SBI on NA. Actually, as of somewhat recently. Recent-ish. It's been a good time. I'm definitely a Zerg enjoyer, but I do get some roaming in, but I think Selly Gear could use a touch before I probably start roaming a lot, but it is what it is, you know?
Z, did you plug your guild? Do you want to plug your
Oh,
guilds
I can.
so that people know where to find you and
Yeah.
stuff like that?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, so my guild is a WFA. Uh, Technically it's waiting for Ashes, but like we're gonna rename it at some point.
It's
I
been so
think
long waiting for Ashes that you gave up.
I
You
know,
just put
right?
World Wars now.
I mean, technically all the people who wanted to play Ashes have left the guild. But, you know, I think that's all the information you need for the guild, right? Just
Yeah.
WFA. We're
Yeah.
on Devona's Rest. Um,
Do you guys do anything specific when it comes to like helping new players and stuff like that that you might want to plug? I mean, this is a good chance to plug guilds and things
okay.
like that. Like, do you guys do trainings and offer like guidance in that way? I know you did say that you guys do help new players, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. We definitely do welcome new players because it's just I think at least in the beginning it's easier to like get new players and then teach them kind of like the standards of Worldly
Mhm.
World before they like get, I don't know, like bad habits.
True.
built into their system or something. And yeah, we did have some trainings in the past, and kind of working on pushing out some more, because I think it's always nice to get refreshers on world etiquette and other things like that,
Yeah.
especially for support builds.
Very true, and
Um,
I feel like that's one of the things that we just don't have enough of in World versus World. Nobody wants to play
yeah,
support anymore. It's insane. At
no,
least on the
it's
servers I've been on.
it's very difficult because I think people feel like there's a lot of pressure
Mm-hmm.
put on them, and then they don't want to do it. We had one guild person start out as a firebrand, and they realized that they hated it because they can't kill anything. I'm like, well,
Well,
okay.
I mean, no
So,
Where are my
bags.
bags?
No
I mean,
bags.
yeah, exactly. So, so they straight up just don't, they just do DPS. Like,
I feel like a lot
but
of people
yeah,
are like that. Anet,
yeah,
please. This might go
ain't
in
it?
the episode later on this season, but please make it so that supports get bags somehow. I don't care how,
Somehow.
just anyhow.
Like, I mean, I started out as a support firebrand when I joined the guild like a year ago. And that's just what I've been doing because I enjoy it a lot. And, I get just, I mean, I one time just went into Worldy World just to see what was happening, and Shield just straight up invited me to their pub group because I was a firebrand. I'm like, oh, I guess this is what I'm gonna do today.
Shield is cool. I've run with
Yeah,
Shield.
yeah.
They're cool.
Firebrand will get you into the private guild runs with the
Yes, it
prize
will.
So
tag.
hard.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
so
for
hard.
100%.
new players
It's
who are a
great.
little bit worried about that aspect, Firebrand will get you in at least until they
Very
nerf
much
at
so.
least until they nerf Firebrand.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna move on with introductions.
of course.
Sahana, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Sure. I'm SAHANA. I currently play on Eridon Terrace. I used to be a member of Salty's Guild. I can't actually remember what they renamed it to
Oh
because
man,
they were
Lost and
yeah,
Wardens
right.
and Weast and man. Yep, I
Or like
remember Salty.
bad call outs or whatever
Yeah.
it is now. But actually right now I'm a little guildless just because I find myself going through World vs. World phases. But I have been playing the game mode pretty much since I first started playing Guild Wars, which was like 6-7 years ago. So a lot has changed and it's been really interesting. But I am also a support firebrand main.
Yo, this is like
Let's
what?
go!
What's up? And I think when it comes to World vs. World, I think you just learn so much more about classes as you're playing them because you utilize them in such a different way. I think you get to really learn the ins and outs of every class, all the traits, all the skills. And yeah, honestly, as you said, sometimes it just feels it just feels great to team up with a big group of people and kill all the things,
True.
you know.
100%.
But I am generally as a support firebrand a bit of a zerger. Well, obviously. But sometimes I like to go roam as well when I'm just feeling a little more low key. So
Yeah, this has Loki turned into the Firebrand season, I guess. Without even realizing it. I feel like I need to start playing Firebrand now too to fit in with the group.
Oh,
Chef, you're
peer
next.
pressure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody.
this one's really gonna freak you up because I played Firebrand last night.
Oh
oh
no!
my
And he just had a
god.
Firebrand video come out, so
You
like this whole
did.
thing, this was not
And he
planned.
has another one coming out, but I am not a Firebrand main, so don't
Oh man.
worry. So my name is Chef. If you didn't watch season 1, I can do the reintroduction. But I was also over there. I am a Necro main for Knights of the Temple on Fort Aspenwood. I have played World vs. World for a couple of years now. I think it's 3 or 4 or something like that. So it's been a little while, but not quite as long as other people who are more experienced in the game mode. I like that I'm a little orthogonal to other people on the panel pretty much every season. I have done some 50v50 content, but I tend to prefer things that are a little smaller scale, somewhere in the 20 to 25 range, because I think it's a lot more fulfilling to see your squad play well and play cohesively as a group when your numbers are a little smaller. I think individual performance can sometimes get lost when you have so many people that it's kind of difficult to notice when people make like good plays or make, you know, good particular conversions, stuff like that. So I'm a little on the smaller side. I'll do GVGs every once in a while as long as it's GVG summer. I think that's pretty much it.
GVG summer. I just learned that was a thing. Like recently. I think Chef, you're the one that told me that it was a thing.
Yeah, I am the one who told you. GVG
I had
summer
no
is
idea.
now officially over. I was doing GVGs with Poison, Triple X. They have officially gone on hiatus. So there is no more GVG summer for me because all the guilds that I played with have stopped playing.
Dang. Okay.
Did not make it to the tournament, unfortunately.
Aw, that's unfortunate. Maybe next year, right?
Yeah, next year will be the year for sure.
Or maybe you start a hard stuck GVG team and then we all make it to the tournament together.
Yeah, or maybe that doesn't happen. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so for you guys listening, this season we're gonna take a little bit of a pivot. Last season was really focused, if you guys listened to last season, on world versus world commanding. And while some of the panel members this season are commanders or have commanded in the past, they do play a lot of general world versus world. Also, they play not as tag, they play under other tags. They know a lot about the game mode, or mostly a lot about the game mode. And they also play other aspects of Guild Wars too. And I just wanted to bring this approach into this season so that people who are getting into World versus World have a season that they can listen to on why you should play World versus World, why it's not as scary as the community may, make it seem, because I know that especially in the PvE community, it's like sometimes there are people who like turn their nose up at World versus World. And so this whole episode is going to be based on why you should play World versus World, and then the rest of the season is going to be getting into tips and tricks for getting into World versus World, what things you should have for builds, and generally like styles of play you can get into, and all of that. So that's going to be our general approach for the season, guys. With that being said, I would like to know, and if you guys don't mind, just in case we do have new World versus World people in the chat listening, whatever you'd like to call it, what is World versus World? Can we just like get each of your guys' opinions on what exactly it is, and just talk about that for a little while? Regal, do you want to start off with that question?
You mean like an actual definition of the game mode, or like what
Yeah.
it is to me? Or...
Yeah, let's start with like an actual definition, and then I'd like to know like what it is to you.
It's actually a little bit confusing because when you first get the game and you select a world, well, at least when I started with a few friends and I made them all choose the same world as me because I thought we wouldn't be able to play PvE together. Once I actually realized that it only matters for World v World, that's actually when I started World v World because I wanted to see what it was. So basically, it's all the worlds fighting over territory to earn points that, as of right now, unfortunately don't actually get you anything. But that is soon to change.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Surely.
World versus World
2025.
tournaments coming up soon, TM.
Ooh,
that would be
leaderboards.
Cool. Leaderboards?
Guild leaderboards.
Tiers that
NFTs?
Actually matter? NFTs?
Yeah, I will hit the copium very hard. I don't care. There's so many different ways to play World v World between roaming, zerging, and I know quietly's a Havoc enjoyer.
I am. I love Havoc.
Yeah, I want the zergs. If it were up to me, it would be 1,000. I love the chaos.
I don't think my computer can
handle that. Could
that.
you
I'm not gonna
imagine?
lie.
Yeah, like, oh my god.
Like,
Yeah, I built a new computer last year. I get 30 FPS in World v World. I'm like, okay.
Holy.
Yeah, I'll turn my character bar a little bit back down. Feels bad, man.
Yeah. it's okay.
Dang. So, generally, since we kind of know that it's this large scale PvP where servers battle each other out over territories, like you said. What does it really mean to you, though? Like, what makes you enjoy it? What makes you play it other than, oh, hey, look, servers only matter for world versus world, so I'm gonna go try that out. Like, what's the appeal for it for you? Why do
I
you
like the
play it?
fights. I play it for the fights, the chaos, the memes, the chat when you wipe another Zerg and everyone's going crazy. That feeling, I live for that. It's like an endorphin rush.
All the feel-good juices that come when you finally kill that squad that might be a
Yeah,
little bit bigger than you, and you're just like,
yep.
you know what, you had one more pug than me, I see that green name, so, like, we won.
Yeah, it's like they stole your Gary. They wiped you like 6 times. You got people in the squad just ready to give up, and then you wipe that Zerg. It's like, yeah, we're still here.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what's up.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Feels a little good.
It's really kind of like a rarity in the current MMO ecosystem to have a good realm versus realm combat system. Like World of Warcraft has
True.
Alterac Valley, which, fine, it's over in like 10 minutes, and it's also not actually your realm, it's just random matching. I don't think Final Fantasy XIV has any kind of RVR combat.
I don't think so.
Not in like the scale that World versus World is. They have like small, it's like, I don't know, it's like 20v20 stuff, but it's you queue into it. It's not based on like guilds or worlds or anything like that, and then you finish it and it's gone. It's nothing like
Okay.
World v World.
I
Yeah, I
believe
never got super
Elder
into it.
Scrolls has the closest competition,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and it's
ESO
still
or
not
EVE,
as good.
honestly. EVE Online is probably the closest competition.
That's probably true. Yeah.
But like it's pretty rare, and that scale of like Rico has said, having the scale of just like these giant groups smashing each other is really cool to see. It's not really something that you really get until you actually get into the game mode and you do it, and you're like, holy cow, there's a lot of people here. I don't really know what's going on, but it seems cool.
True.
It's not something that a lot of MMOs
Mhm.
do, and I think that's a lot of the appeal for it, at least in Guild Wars. Is it's a relatively unique kind of game mode.
I would
And
definitely agree with that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think part of it also for me personally was that like it's less anxiety inducing, even though you have these giant groups of people, you have no idea what's going on, but it is still less anxiety than like going straight into regular PvP mode.
Yes.
True.
Where the responsibility of your Zerg succeeding or not is shared amongst a larger swath of people. And I think in that aspect that it really is all about teamwork, right? And like working together, um, and having that sort of cohesive goal of we're gonna go in and smash this other Zerg.
Yeah,
And I
and
think
it's a lot
yeah,
easier to be anonymous when you're doing that in World v World too, because of
yeah,
how many people are
Mhm.
there, so you don't have to worry too much about your own performance.
right. And then the social aspect is like you can engage with everyone else in the squad as you want. You can sit there and be anonymous and just do your job and do it well, which is fine. But you can also be making call outs and, you know, kind of giving tips on like what to do, where people are going, frontline skills that they need to use, all those things. And I think it leaves a lot of autonomy for you, but still in a group setting.
Other than when you're like a commander, a lot of the responsibility is just not on you, and I feel like it's very friendly for new players getting into the game mode and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people, when they think of PvP, they're probably very nervous about getting into it, right? So that may be like when you're speaking to other people or people who are interested in getting into the game mode, it's definitely an aspect that it's like it's okay if you're not the best world versus worlder when you start out, because you're not the one that's going to have to solely carry your team, or like your performance isn't going to make a huge difference if you're in a large squad and things like that, which is why I feel like a lot of people are like, if you're going to start out in world versus world, join whatever tag is on the map and follow that tag around until you have a general idea of what's going on. But yeah, Z, I'm interested in what is like the main appeal for you and why you play world versus world in general.
I think it's like developed, right?
Mhm.
Since I've gotten more comfortable with my role as support. At the beginning, I was like really shy, and I'm just like, okay, I like going around, taking towers, taking keeps, maybe poking a Gary and see the horde of people come to save it if it's a Thursday night and they're all on EBG because at that point points don't matter or whatever, and they rain down on you. But like now I really enjoy like fighting people and supporting the people murdering the other teams. um I like cuz I like to tell my group all the time, I will support your murder, okay? So that you don't die and you can do all the damage. I like the bigger fights. Recently we haven't had a lot of like people join in Worldly World, so we've been doing a lot of open tag just so we can get numbers and have some fights. But like the fights are very, very fun for me, and I like just kind of basically wearing out the other team or surprising them because those stealth bombs are just like my jam, and I love doing it to people because they have just like no idea. And then we win, or we can take a tier 3 bay or hills out underneath like a group that's clearly way bigger than us, and it feels really good.
Mhm.
So the fights are definitely the appeal for me.
So you're the same as
Working with
Regal. You
everyone.
guys, you
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
like murder all the things and
Yeah,
capture all
it's
the
fun.
things.
It's fun. If I want a relaxing time, like yeah, we'll just go say hi to Brutus or whatever on Red, and just go around flipping things. If someone has a tier 3 camp, we can't let them have that, so we go take those. Um But if we have like numbers and like we're getting a little, we want some do some spicy things. I'm all for murdering the other teams, fighting them, and basically having like an endurance game with them.
Okay, okay.
So yeah.
Sahana, are you kind of the same mindset as everyone else? It seems like are fights the appeal for you, or what's going on your end?
Yeah, I think when I first started playing, I was actually the most social interaction that I could actually get within the game, because when I first started playing Guild Wars 2, I was actually living in Japan, and
Mm,
yeah, so
wow.
unfortunately when I hit 80, it was just like nobody there, right? There was really no one chilling in like Lion's Arch except for like the people in Oceania. And I found that World vs. World um was just honestly always populated with people. And so that is honestly how I got into it. Nowadays, I do it when I'm feeling the fight, when I'm feeling the itch to fight and get in those big Zerg battles. And I do, I do think that like the big ones, the large 50 versus 50 fights are a lot of fun, but like playing support, it's incredible pressure.
True.
Um,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
right? And so I guess it's a little mix of both. Sometimes if there's like a lot going on, I'll actually choose the if and there's like multiple comms or whatever on a map, I'll go to the squad that has less people, just so we're doing like the small things that still make the impact on like overall points and all that stuff. But I think it really does come down to the fights and you know
The
if they're
mood.
going to be fun or not. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can
Okay.
I pick on a little thread that was in your answer and was also in Regal's answer?
Mhm. Go for it.
And I don't even know if I buy this take, so I guess we'll see. But one of the things that is on the horizon for World versus World is this alliances system,
Mm.
where instead of matchups that are based on your server, it's going to be matchups that are based on the guild that you're in. And multiple guilds are going to be placed in an alliance, and then alliances are going to fight each other rather than server shards. And I guess I want to say that that's going to be a net positive, unless the implementation of that system is disastrous. But Regal said that he only got into World versus World because it was the only thing where your server mattered. And Sahana said that the reason she got into World versus World is because of the community. And I think it's worth pointing out that the server that you're on still has an identity in World versus World, because those are static people who are on your server week in and week out. And well, the global shard thing that Guild Wars has done, where you can play on any map with anyone, has kind of homogenized the entire game. Individual servers in World versus World still have a lot of server specific identity, and that's a really interesting feature of World versus World as well. Is different servers are very different from one another in the way that they approach fights, in the way that they construct squads, in the times that they play at, in their metas, in a whole bunch of different things. That's really interesting as well.
True. That's like a little bit out of the range of this specific episode, but I really do like that topic, to be honest. It's kind of interesting, because when Alliances launches, we're going to see a little bit of a repercussion because of that, right? Like, a lot of the servers that I've talked to or like heard whispers of, like the Mag Alliance, they're all like forming up into guilds and making sure that there's alliances so that they can stay together with the people that they like and things like that. So I think we're going to see a lot of that, but we're also going to see like a lot of dynamic fluidity, because there's going to be like these main alliances, and then there's going to be the stuff that fills them in, right? The roamers and the small guilds and the rest of the stuff that fills in the population for that matchup. And I think it's going to be really cool, in my opinion, because but also it's going to be like, it might actually cause a lot of drama, because we're going to see clashes.
Make it easier to get into.
True. And once you find an alliance that you actually like playing with, it's going to be easier to play with them. Like, it's really hard, because right now, currently, you get one free transfer, and then after that you have to spend like opiates amount of gems to transfer to play with people that you like. And it's like that holds a lot of people back from the game mode, right? Because they want to play with their friends and the people that they're in guilds with, and it's like, okay, I used my one free transfer to go play with this friend, but now I'm playing with this guild a lot, and I really like this guild's community, and they're playing World versus World, but now I have to spend all of this money in order to transfer to play with them, and so I'd rather just not play World versus World, or just play it every once in a while, than spend the gems to go play with the guild that I want to play with, that I would probably play with more. So it
also makes recruiting really hard, because if you're a guild on a full server, you functionally can't recruit. Like, you can pay for transfers for people who are riding the link, but it's extremely hard for a guild on a full server to do any kind of meaningful recruitment.
Especially if the server's full, right?
That's why we transferred to a low pop server, Devona's Rest. I'm pretty sure it's not low pop anymore, but we just needed more room for people to like join our server for World v World.
True. Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. It's definitely gonna be interesting. But before we go off on a tangent on that, because we're at 30 minutes now for this recording, and so I'm gonna need to wrap it up here pretty soon. But we've kind of touched on like what World versus World is, why we find it appealing. We've talked about like these different aspects and things like that. These new players who are probably listening to this podcast have no idea what any of this stuff is. So without all of that vet World versus World mumbo jumbo, with like alliances and all of this other stuff like large scale fights and things like that, what is something that you think would really like appeal for people who have never been in the game mode, that have been thinking about it but are kind of on the edge? Because World versus World does have a reputation for being intimidating, and I don't think it's intimidating. I think it's extremely friendly to new players, but a lot of people aren't of that mindset. So in your guys' opinions, what would a main appeal be, and what do you think would be like the convincing factor for people to kind of take that push or get that boot, the kick in the butt to get into World versus World? What do you think that one aspect of it would be? Chef, can we go ahead and start with you?
Yeah, it's just very different. It's different from a lot of the ways that Guild Wars 2 works in PvE, as well as in PvE, or PvP even. There's a different set of balancing rules, so there's, different skills that do different damage and have different effects. And it's also relatively unique in a lot of MMOs. So if you're someone who plays 2 or 3 different MMOs, you're looking to do something a little different because everything is feeling kind of samey,
Hmm.
the World versus World is a really weird, unique place that has a lot of different rules than traditional competitive game modes and MMOs. So, if for nothing else, try it out to see something new and different.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Would anyone like to expand on that and give like a different reason or like agree with that reason and why?
I I
Yeah,
think the reason I stuck with the game mode was because it was it's the only Guild Wars in Guild Wars. They say that about alliances, but I mean,
true.
really, if you get it's the same if you get your whole guild on one world. It's the Guild Wars.
I mean, just to add, I guess chefs and Regal, they said, because it's like just a different, it's unique, I would say. Because I haven't played a lot of MMOs, but just hearing it from other people say that it's very different. I think the appeal for me is it's a interesting like community within Worldly World, a very unique way of like interacting with other players that I don't really see in a lot of other places, because you can just like, go in and pretty much do whatever you want. And for me anyways, I think that's like a that the appeal, just to go in there, do something a little different, and you can be with a group and do that, and complete goals, raid Gary's, and things like that.
There are
Yeah.
definitely unique personalities in World v World.
Very, yeah,
Very
you
unique.
interact
Okay.
with a lot of different people. You have X pandas all doing all the siege. If you see a bunch of siege golems in your world just waiting lined up somewhere, just shenanigans happen. And people are, at least recently, people are pretty nice in the guild chat. Some people can be spicy, but that's just normal in video games. But the fact that you can just kind of show up and join like a pug tag and just do stuff, I think is really inviting
It's
and
nice.
easy to do. You just
Yeah.
join a tag, and they even say like, "Hey, so and so's open tag on this borderland. Here's a waypoint. You can click and go there. Join us. Have some fun."
Hmm.
Like, I think it's very easy and welcoming that way.
Yeah, I co-sign it with basically everything everyone said. It is an incredibly unique game mode, and I think also the environment is so welcoming, like regardless of whether you are new to Guild Wars altogether or if you are just a longtime PvEer just wanting to try something new. And I think there's this like low key understanding amongst all of like the quote unquote regulars of World vs. World that being welcoming means that you ultimately just get more people to play, and then your squad numbers go up, right? And
Hmm.
that ultimately obviously
Yeah.
like impacts winning, like winning your big battles, winning, um taking over garrisons, towers, whatever else. And I think in that aspect, people really do try their very best to guide a lot of the people like new that are just like, hi, I have no idea what's happening, I'm just following this dude and taking it from there. So I think it's one of the friendlier aspects, I think, of Guild Wars in general, Guild Wars 2 in general, which is always nice.
Yeah, I do definitely agree with all of the takes that were said. And to just wrap things up, I kind of really liked what Regal said when he said that it's the actual Guild Wars in Guild Wars 2, right? You get to play the way you want. Like Z said, you get to go in, you have all these different aspects. It's very sandboxish. You can join Havoc, you can join PPT, like large scale PPT, you can join fight groups, you can roam, you can do all of these different things. So you can play the way that you want. Plus, it really is guild versus guild. And especially with alliances coming in the future, I know for new players, you don't know what alliances is. Chef kind of like brushed over it, but alliances is going to be like a huge change, and it's something that the world versus world community has been looking forward to, and it's really going to make it guild versus guild. Like, quite literally, it's going to be guild versus guild now. So in my eyes, World versus World is kind of what Guild Wars 2 is. But I know that's kind of like a hot take. So generally, yeah. I agree with what everyone's been saying. It's very friendly. It's definitely like once you find your mode and your tribe or your guild that you like playing with, it's a very friendly, easy to get into game mode, and then you can invest whatever time you want to into the game mode. You don't have to invest tons of hours into this game mode. Like, you can play every once in a while, like Sahana said she goes on binges and stuff like that. Or you can play every single day like Chef does. I don't know if you play every single day, but you play a
Yeah,
lot.
it's not every day. It's I'm probably like a 5-day a week World v World Marty, I would say.
Yeah, so I feel like since this whole thing has been kind of I've wanted to accentuate like all of these different opinions on why people play World versus World, what it is, like all of these different aspects that people enjoy. And to sum it all up, it's like honestly for a new player who may be teetering on the fence, in my opinion, it's good to just try out the different aspects and see if you like it, because World versus World isn't one and done. It's you can try out large scale and see if you like large scale, like everyone here seems to, or you can be like Chef and do like 25 man because you like more personal personal responsibility. Or if you don't want that responsibility, you can be more like 50-man pug group where you just kind of go and you murder all the things and you capture the keeps. Or you can Havoc if you want to take like small objectives and like influence the points and things like that. Or you could roam if you just want to roam around and gank people and just make people's lives miserable. That's also a thing. But as you can see, I don't really roam a lot because I have strong feelings on that. I need to start roaming more. I think I might do a roaming season here pretty soon. So, yeah. Does anyone have any like final conclusions on what they want before I say goodbye to chat, or do you think we've kind of summed up like this is World versus World, this is what we enjoy, and this is why you should play? So,
No, I think that's been pretty comprehensive.
Yeah.
yeah. All right. All right. Well then, I'm gonna wrap it up here for now, chat. Next episode we're going to be talking about tips and tricks into getting into World versus World and unspoken rules of the Borderlands, which I find super interesting because I feel like it's different with every server. So, for now, if you guys are listening on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Please drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you want to watch more of this content. If you're listening on Spotify, because it's on Spotify now, thank you so much. Please follow so that we get bumped up in the whatever algorithm Spotify has, and share with friends if you enjoy. Anyway, we'll see you next time, chat.